Good morning. All right. Hope you guys got some good night rest. Let's jump into it. You should have your journal sheet out and ready. You're welcome to download the free um, PDF that I have in the Discord, Trader SQ85, so that you can follow along. So usually I like to start off, of course, with the date, so Tuesday, 7/13. We do have downside on Mondays, especially like when we're in War. This is something to keep in mind. We did practice waiting for the first minimum 5 minutes before we got into anything on Monday. And then Tuesday is just, I feel like it should be okay. We do have some exciting news, as you can see there. Wednesday is simply consolidation. Friday, we like to scale back, protect our profits, don't overtrade, right? I want to also encourage you, I have a new section here right below the date. Whatever you have going on outside of this 2 hour space that we have set aside, park it. Work, relationships, concerns, all of that. We're focused, we're here. So just start to hone in and focus and lock in here. Okay, so with that being said, let me go ahead and refresh here. You guys know I love the tradingeconomics.com /calendar to get my news for what's going on for the day. Today's going to be an exciting day. We already had some pre-market data in terms of core inflation. It was forecast at 0.2, came in at 0. Here, so this was month over month, year over year. We came in slightly lower, forecast at 2.9, came in at 2.6, and inflation overall for the rate month over month for the month of June was forecast at 0. We came in negative 0.4. Okay. We also had CPI at 5:30, and when you take a look at the charts, you're going to see we had quite a little bit of a volatility there. And then, in more exciting news, at 7 o'clock, we do have Federal Chair Kevin Warren's testimony for the first time since he's taken over since Uncle Jerome. Um, and then from there, we should be out of the market. All right, so let's head back over here. Let me make sure. Oop, no. Okay, so good thing I checked because sometimes StreamYard has a hard time. I'm going to connect you guys back to my screen. Has a hard time carrying the voiceover, so that I caught that. All right, so I don't know if you can just kind of eyeball it real quick here, but on the higher time frames, you can see we bought some stuff up and then came back down across the board in all three. You can see here as well as on SPY. I'm gonna go more into depth on what I'm looking for on SPY, and then by the time we get to QQQ and IWM, I'm not having to repeat myself. Go ahead and just also eyeball what's happening over here. I like when you guys get the indicator. Let's see. So 4 hour on SPY. Um, need a crossover here on SPY on the 4 hour, and that crossover. Oh, it looked like it was to the upside. Yeah. So when this skyrocketed up, there was a little bit of a crossover. We might retest and come back. Ooh, is it going to be a hard time? Okay, let's see. So we had that 4 hour. I'd love to see it. SPY hit 30%. Yeah, all of these. I was looking for these. I set that. They hit the 50% levels uh, overnight. Okay, so now, and that's usually what I'm looking for. If you've been looking for a while, you'll know that if it's just 3, 5 minutes, 15 minutes, or even an hour, I'm not really spending a lot of time in it. Then I go from 12 months, and I'm gonna, I always like to just make sure I have my indicator set up, but I always like to eyeball. And you'll see when I get to the lower time frames, especially what I'm looking for. But I just want to make sure once we get into the day, early here, we're bearish a little bit. On the 4 hour, I'm going to keep the levels here. So this is a buy zone. We have a gap that formed up here. It looks like we went to 50%, y'all. Can't make this up. 50% of that consequent encroachment level pre-market. I always talk about the 50% levels of the gap. I know people like to go for gap fills, but that 50% level. Oh, and then you guys can't let me tell to get to like QQQ because yo. So let's just and then here you can see that 4 hour, the 5 hour, we were experiencing some downside, and 5 o'clock, we hit the 5:15, 5:30. We liked what we were seeing, I suppose, and we skyrocketed up to the upside here, and then started to sell off, falling right below previous day highs. So the big thing for especially SPY is going to be staying above this level here, getting buyers to reassert themselves and participate in filling the gap with the corrective. But this is a bullish zone, so for the most part, we don't want to be looking for puts here. That being said, we do have some sell-off, and price did open below uh, below the VWAP here. If we break below the stable level, we're going to have some invalidation. And, you know, we could come back down and retest this level here, these stop loss levels for calls before we continue to experience a little bit of upside and or even just try to bounce one more time off of this 200 moving average. Just be prepared to play both sides. This is the previous week high. This is going to be, even though we could be bullish, um, I expect a lot of volatility today, just again, like with Kevin Warsh and what he's going to say about the rates. So they're going to be listening in for that. So that being said, 7 o'clock, we also want to just maybe just sit on our hands and watch how things set up. The way I set up my journal too is I have 3 E's, and I want to make sure that I'm only entering them on E's. I'm not trying to preemptively jump into anything, waiting for the setup. Let's see here. So we just moving to the lower time frame here. This one I'm spending a little bit more time on because I feel like we have uh, high probabilities here. Now, that being said, one thing I have learned about, so I'm going to put this down here. So SPY pre-market is I love seeing this pre-market. If there's something that happens in the pre-market, it's going down. And so love to see this higher time frame stuff. Let's just observe it because I'm still, I know on the 15-minute, when this forms the pre-market, they're going to try to hit it. So let's just wait for some confirmation. Once we start to cross down into these levels here, then we can start to, I think for me, entertain some puts. So I'm going to go ahead and mark this level here. It's, let's just line it up. And part of the reason, like if I wasn't already paranoid about the exact levels, you're going to see why I keep these two. Why I'm so paranoid about these levels. So let's see. So um, I'm just going to put it entertain based off of the 1 hour. Oh, yeah. So, and it's, yeah, once we cross here and we start to get wicks to the downside here, we did already hit 100%, which means that we did satisfy it, but I'm just open to it. And we possibly could just come back down and, yeah, just be prepared to play both sides. I feel like, let me just look at this one more time. This is a bullish zone, so we could kind of have a little bit of chop. It's totally entirely possible. Yeah, we have a little bit more of a bullish zone here. So for the most part, we're looking for calls. If you want to be conservative, you can start to look for puts. Like even if it's just, I hope you see what I'm doing here, but I'm moving it down to something even more conservative, which is this other stop loss here for puts that also formed on the 30-minute. Um, and then in terms of calls, like maybe you could start to entertain calls up here. Uh, and I hope you see what I'm doing here. So these are call levels from before. We never quite hit 100%. We only kept hitting off of 30% here. So And so this would be when we invalidate this zone here. So I would put entertain pause here. I would just cross this though, and just be willing to wait until we get that E confirmation, some type of confirmation. Understanding that we might have sellers step back in here. Um, we might try to get that gap fill of orders here before we experience more sell-off or continue to break above this level and go to the upside. So we can prepare for both sides. Let's see if the 15-minute is giving us anything. I like it. I like it. So, but with that being said, I think I'm going to keep it on the, I'm going to keep it here. I'm going to take a little break. I will be right by it. Just like 2 minutes. Hey. All right, let's get back into it. So, yeah, let's leave this on a 30-minute time frame here. I think it was gonna, it didn't, oh yeah, I did put that. I just don't see where it's showing. Oh, there it is. It's in green. Yeah, let's leave this here. I feel like, because I do tend to concentrate more on IWM. If it kind of grows small accounts, then these tend to be a little bit higher, and so you got to be able to stomach the volatility um, and stuff. But they do play a role because I like this one. Do not be scared of it. They having all three does play a role in helping you to be able to see when they're all three moving in the same direction. You can. It's just adding confluence. Let's see. So here I'm just gonna eyeball this really quickly. I'm just making sure that nothing really popped off that I didn't miss. Here we hit 200% on the pause, so it looks like we're trying to retest the pause. We do have a gap here. Let me try something here. So hide my drawing. Okay. trying to see how far. Okay, previous month low. Let's see something. Okay, 245. I want to see something here. Oh, that's interesting. I've never seen that before. Oh, whatever I just did there. Oh, yo, I'm glad I made that mistake per se. So this one is just hiding the indicators. Bro, you know how many times I've had to like maneuver? Okay, hey, we've done something you like. We have not satisfied. Wow, y'all. Uh, we have not addressed this um, gap here. Same thing like QQQ. You gotta deal with it. I know we're feeling bullish, but you got some explaining to do. All right. And you're gonna this. I'm gonna show you why I'm being so kind of OCD about this level. All right, especially as we go down. Now, if you guys were on the live with me yesterday and Friday, I was talking about how we have to fill these gaps, right? So we were bullish here, and we did not satisfy this gap that was here. It was a gap. I won't spend too much time. You just have to go back and look at it was like the past 2 days. I was like, we have to fill this gap. And so then sure enough, and then today, um, yeah, yesterday, I was like, I know it's not just me. Like we did not fill that gap. And I was like, I cannot believe that we came within just cents, 512, within just pennies of filling the gap. And so sure enough, it came here, rejected off of this low 200 moving average, and then completely filled that gap. And then pre-market, we gapped up right in tandem with that 530 news. And with that being said, we gapped up. I feel like QQQ is just, you gotta love it, especially once you know, like, I've been scared to I've taken QQQ stuff. You have to be precise, you have to know your stuff. Um, and so that's why the caution is there, right? But with that being said, we got to again take care of this gap. And then this is where people start to fall in love with QQQ, especially people who've been trading for a long time. You just wait for the setup, and it's fast and it pays well, right? It has a high risk to reward ratio. Um, but you really can't afford to be wrong. And this is not like, if you're just dead wrong and you really don't know what you're doing, just honor your stop losses, right? And you can always re-enter. But this is not necessarily the best if you're trying to grow a small account and you don't know what you're doing. Now, with that being said, we do. You know, I have a little bit of a. See how I prefer to go off of the 4 hour gap, but here, and if you want to download that indicator, this gap. But um, see how it's a little bit bigger here, and then also post market. Yeah, post market. We wanted some downside. Um, oh, and then we never really quite dealt with. We never really quite dealt with this gap with the collective. These have been institutional moves that have happened here. This is, that the rest of us don't have access to. So, man, learn that. Okay, so got to be willing to play both sides. Um, heck, you can even, yeah, but so the play is going to be, we're bullish pre-market. If we buy off of these previous day highs and start to get caught to the upside, I would just say pay attention. Ooh, let me move this over, right? See that, so then just pay attention to this 50% level. And then what will happen is we'll either build a base here and then have more downside, or we'll build, come up here and then build a base and continue to the upside. We do have previously high here that we can try to tackle. Oh, let me just make sure, y'all. Ooh, we got OPEX this week too. We have OPEX this week too. Ooh, ooh. Because I was gonna say we could try to go for that rally, but the reason this is important is because that's when institutions start to recalibrate their portfolios and everything like that. I'm gonna move this up ever so slightly because, yeah, like I don't want this to happen where it's respecting levels and then we're just off by a couple of cents. But I want us to be as accurate as possible there. All right, so let's go to IWM just because I do want to look for. Look at this. Look at this. Beautiful. I love to see it. Let's just see. Okay, perfect. 15 minutes pre-market. I love to see this. So this is probably what we're going to be contending with in terms of like previous day highs. We're going to see buyers agree to step in here at market open with us, or if we're going to. This is a no trade zone and a sell zone here. Once you start to get sellers below this level right here and below 8, um, it's going to be a little bit of top, and this is why I was saying I feel like we have a little bit more top than we will tomorrow. But if we invalidate this zone right here, then we'll attempt to fill this gap. So you got to be willing to pivot that. Now let's just head over to, I know it looks like a lot. So the clearest one, um, let's just see what IWM has to offer in the next couple of minutes here. I did mark the time indicators on here, like in terms of when Wash is speaking, just so I have a reminder for myself. And so you can see here that I've decided to set the levels as buy above here, sell below. Really don't want to trade in this area. You can get chopped and screwed around, to me, in my opinion, here on IWM. Um, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I mean, if you do see something a little bit lower, like here, going into the 1 hour, where you start to reaffirm that you want some downside, I would just really respect the 100 level here. We did come down to 50%. We always have like this drastic, dramatic pullback at 50%. Doesn't matter what time frame it is. But I'm just gonna call it for what it is. So if we start to look to the downside here, you could entertain puts here. Cautious, and this is based off of the 1 hour. So we would come back to this time frame and just kind of deal with that. But you can see that we more bullish based on the news that we heard, and we just kind of sold back off a little bit. We're staying below previous day highs, so the biggest thing to contend is to build a base above here. You're going to have a little bit of top only because these 200 are kind of strong and they're strong levels, and so you're going to try to have to break above this. This is a pretty strong level. Hold your ground above here, hold above this, and then come and contend with this, and then decide if you want to upside. So let's just be patient. That's going to be the name of the game for today. Um, let's see here. And then as I start to move to the downside, we gapped up. We have to deal with this gap, right? So with that being said, um, now I really want to play this because I did see this pre-market. Um, you start to invalidate puts here, but here, let's just color code this because as much as you can to not have to fight, like your brain and stuff, you want to as much. So we want to start entertaining puts here. Um, you would have a little bit of, I would anticipate some bounce here on previous day low, so this would be a take profit level. See how it lines right up with that 30% level? And then let's just take a look at the 15-minute and see, okay, so 15-minute wants a little bit of upside. We can look at the 5-minute. 5-minute also wants some upside to the pre-market. Okay, let's keep it here on the 15-minute. I feel like with this gap, we are trying to break to the upside here. We're above the 200. And then I just want to start winding down because I just want to have time to regulate my nervous system a little bit. Consider the overall trend. We're starting to sell off a little bit. So let's just be willing to be patient. We could wait as far as 7. So this is when Kevin Warren speaks. I'm going to set this to the 1 hour, 1 minute time frame after because I want to remember that. I feel like this is my first time going through a transition from, I call them Uncle Jerome and stuff, but I just want to remember like the special moments and stuff. That's just me being fundamental. If you haven't already, put your beginning balance. And I just usually like to prime myself. The goal is to grow our account with face hits. I'm going to put 3 E's next to here and see if I honor that. I don't want to overtrade. I also want to make sure that I'm honoring the 7:30, 1 hour. You know, look at that. I do have a alert set for Visa. I do have the 1 hour set for Visa because I am interested in getting into some calls there on Visa. But this week we have the interest rates are going to affect the banks. So it'll be interesting to see because Visa is at a key buying level. And precaution as we're going into the last 39 seconds. If I get something really strong, like a 1 day or something like that, or 1 week or something, and you see me jump in those first 5 minutes, it's because I'm going to jump in and try to get a base hit and then just back right back off. If I get in, I get in and I just do a scalp. Um, and so I just don't want people to be frustrated because I remember sometimes people be like, wait. So that's the only reason I would kind of just stay, not, break that 5 minute rule. But like, let's say if I get like a really strong, you know, 4 hour call or something, then I'm gonna jump in and try to do a base hit. So market is open. Ooh, there. We got calls for QQQ on the 15 minute. You're already on the 15 minute. I don't feel like that's strong enough, and because of how the 15 minute operates, I'm just gonna wait. Um, And QQQ, you cannot, it's supposed to be long, so the 15 minutes already kind of crazy. So let's just wait here. But you do have confirmation for upside on QQQ. Let's just see if okay, so we're buying off of the previous day high. We have buyers stepping in. I'd like to see a little bit more strength and continue to hold above here before I look for calls. We are buying on all the other two indicators. This is a bullish zone here. And we're just going to have that same fight where, yes, we're here trying to close this gap, but we also have another gap down here that we need to deal with. So, people are going to eat off the QQQ. Right, so we're just going to watch. Marking it on the big. Okay, so on the 1 hour on IWM, we're hitting the 200 moving average here. We, we're below the VWAP on the 1 hour on IWM. QQQ is trying to build a base above the 200 moving averages on the 1 hour here. And I feel like once it starts to wick a little bit more off of this previous day high, there's also a 200 moving average here, so the PST is good about that. Good job to us hitting the first 5 minutes. And I hope you're starting to understand, like, what we're looking for in terms of like the 15 minutes. We can drop down to a smaller time frame, and we're just going to be looking for smaller confirmation to the upside. Right now we're failing the previous day high. If we break below here and below the C-Hawk, we need to take a look here because are we coming? Oh, we're still in call territory from pre-market. Yes, I see these levels from before that lets me know there's some levels there that we have bullish support here. We're just going to be patient. Here we have a little bit of sell-off on SPY. And for me, on SPY, I'm going to be waiting for us to cross below this level and then validate this bullish zone. And then I'd be willing to entertain some puts to the downside here, especially if you get some alerts going to the downside. Right now, looks like we're trying to buy off of the 8, but we're still bullish here. Here, we're failing through the previous day high, kind of buying off of the VWAP. Here, this is still a bullish, but we do have a gap down there, though, you guys, on IWM. We have sellers stepping in on the previous day high. So let's just see what happens in the next 8 seconds here. If we continue to close below this 200, then the next level is going to be the other 200. Oh yeah, okay, so we're going to have to, and then we're engaging with this, I'm trying to get some sell off here. You just want to be careful here because this could be a bounce area, but it looks like it's going to try to go for the gap on QQQ. I would probably start looking for something like QQQ for some puts. Hey, let's see. Open interest looks good, but let's just kind of wait for a little bit more confirmation on QQQ. Wait for those lower time frames to close. We do have sell-off on all 3. This is a buy zone here, so just be careful. You can get kind of caught up in it. So give yourself a 5 star for waiting for 5 minutes. We didn't get any confirmation in terms of like the 5 minute. We did open below these swaps here, so I expect a little bit of a pullback. If you get a buy up into this area and then a wick down or a sell off, especially if you retest the previous day high, I'd be willing to entertain puts on QQQ. IWM, I'd be looking for some more candles below this 8 moving average and below these 200 moving averages. SPY, this one I'm just going to be ever so careful with. I really want to see it break down here and then validate this zone before I even start to entertain puts. Now that being said, this one, if we reject off of this previous day high, then I'll be comfortable with some puts. And it looks like we're about to do that. Let's just wait for some type of small candle closes below this level right here, because you don't want to obviously see this green. I've learned, like, don't fight it. If you even want to be a little bit more patient and wait for it to invalidate this zone, you know. Okay, this is good. On the 3 minute, we're starting to break out to the downside, so this is good. But let's respect, you know, let's just really wait for that candle to close down here. Okay, yeah, let's just wait for that. Really strong confirmation down here. We have buyers stepping in a little bit here on IWM. IWM out of the quick list, it kind of does its own thing. We have buyers here off the SPY as well. So, and a little bit of buying on QQQ. And think it's, as long as we get a healthy retest here, it's really stay high. But we're rejecting beautifully here off of VWAP. We can be patient and wait for the candle close. I promise you we're not going to miss anything. Okay, we're both buying up off of this level. Oh, now this is interesting too. I think that they're going to retest. We just stay high here on IWM. But we, like I said, we do have this gap down here that we have to deal with. Across the board, like even on the 1 hour, on QQQ, we're buying up off of the 4. On 5, we're buying up off of the 8 hour on the, we're buying off of the 8 EMA on the 1 hour. Beautiful buy. We did open above the lock there. Oh, do we have a, we did. I just honestly guys don't want too much time to clean here. I would say if we start to invalidate these zones, this right here, we can keep it on the 5 minutes. If we start to invalidate here, we have buyers stepping in. I'm honestly glad that we waited, you guys. So we don't want to just jump in just because the first candle breaks below previous day high. We want to wait for some confirmation. And we have buyers stepping back in here. In the next 9 seconds, we're going to have, the buyers from this side try to buy the upside, and then they're going to be looking to pull that back as well, right? So for SPY, I have a 3-minute entry to the upside. It's pretty safe, I feel like. I'm holding off on SPY. I feel like I'm just gonna. We do have buyers all across the board. Let's take a look and see what's happening with the open interest. 639. I feel like they built a nice base. Open interest is good. Um, Alright. We're in a bullish zone. I feel like I just want to wait a little bit. I could be wrong, but this is a bullish zone area. I think what I'm looking for, okay, so here we have buyers stepping in above previous day high. Here, just continue to be cautious just because in terms of like this first 5-minute candle here, we're still in this area. So you want to see us either break to the upside and then look into, we got IWM buyers stepping in. Let's see what they do with the previous day high here. They still just ever so tiny gap here. I think that part of the reason I'm just cautious is the 3-minute. With everything going on right now, the 3-minute is good for confluence, but I want a little bit stronger. 15-minute has its own volatility baked in, but I want to see. I would have wanted to see. I believe slide does look good. It brought up off of the 8 and the 4. It does look good for cards, guys. Let's just see what happens with this candle close. It's just kind of coming back to the VWAP level here. It's a beautiful buy up off of that level. That looks good. Let's see what happens in the next 21 seconds. There's also a high here. I think it's current day high. Got buyers stepping in off of VWAP here on QQQ and buying up off of the 8. So we're still kind of in this range. And then here, that we're trying to buy off of the previous day high. What's going on here with left side? Okay, starting to go to the upside there on side. Let's see it. It's going the wrong way, side. I think this is, and you don't want to necessarily trade off of what other stuff, other indicators, other tickers are doing. But I think part of what I'm considering in the back of my mind is that we had previously high levels here for SPY and QQQ. And so even though it's not here on SPY, because all three of them move at the same, these two are kind of fighting with these levels right now. You know, are we going to have sellers step in below to stay high, or are we going to be able to move straight to the upside? And so, even though SPY does slowly move in the direction, it's very consistent, but it will creep up on you. I'm just being cautious and just wait. We're just waiting for confirmation. Ooh, we're actually doing really well, guys. We're close to that 15 minutes since market open, and that is a-okay, right? We don't want to get caught in this top here. I like how we're buying off of the VWAP here and off of the 8 on the 3-minute. I'm looking for some type of, let's just look at the 5-minute. If we have kind of like a breakout, oh yeah, that looks good there. That looks really good, but I'd like to see it kind of just hold the level above here. I would just like to see it hold above this level here. Not quite. There we go. Then I want to see it hold above that. How are we doing on time? In the next 44 seconds, if we can hold above that, let me go back to the 3 minutes so that we have a little bit more context. If we get like a 5-minute on SPY, I'd be willing to entertain it with a little bit less, apprehensiveness. Yeah, but it did what it needed to. Retested, changed final composite VWAP here. And the killer doesn't have 12 seconds, but I would like to see it. There we go. That's what I would like. I like that. We're starting to get small candle closures. Let's see if we open above previously high here. And we did on QQQ, but we opened slightly below the 8. Okay. We have a lot of open interest to buy on SPY. Going to break out again to the upside on SPY. And then if we want some downward, as long as we're on the morning, we can stay above the 4, is how we could probably see that. The next level here on IWM to break above is the 5 level here. At which point it's the 4-hour buy level. So you have buyers stepping in here. Tension here. Let's wait for another E. For an E, because I want to wait for an E. Which is confirmation that we have it set up. This is not abnormal. What happens is this is a buying block, and so sometimes there's like this towards this level, and so that's the fight that you're seeing right here. So once we break above here, we already had a breakout to the upside. I don't know if you caught this, but we opened right below the 8, which is not, right below the 8 EMA, which is not ideal, right? Even though it's above previous day high. So those are the things that you start to learn as in your careful. We're gonna wait for confirmation. I feel like I'm kind of waiting. Ooh, there we go. So we failed on the 1 minute. On the 1 minute, we had, well, we did hit all the way down here to push on the 1 minute. Let's see what it does here. If we break below the VWAP here on the 1 minute, then just because of the snowball effect, we now have a little bit more downside here. Looks like we're failing and we're starting to get more buyers stepping on the previous day high. We're open below a stop loss here because we got some volatility introduced here. Hold on. We got some volatility introduced over here. And so I just want to see what that means for this evening. We opened below the 8 on the 3 minute, which is not an ideal location for me. We also opened lower than the 8 candle. Has a little bit of sell off. QQQ is trying to maintain its level here. And if you look at this as buyers stepping in here, trying to maintain here, but we do have that gap below. IWM, we're starting to get candle closes below the previous day high, and we do have a gap down here. People starting to get those out. Yeah, it's still kind of like in that 5 minute range though. When you start to learn, like, even though you're kind of holding it, like, you start to see where it's in here, and this in here. I know my chart looks like I have a lot of stuff on there. This is looking good for push on IWM. I wouldn't be surprised if we get like a alert for push in the next 10 seconds on IWM. Let's look at the end of the minute. Starting to prep the downside for push. Or we might get that back there. Yeah. On the 3 minute, we're rejecting that actual kind of push below previous day high. I'm tempted to get into some push on IWM. I'm not even gonna hold you. Oh, but the volume is not there. The open interest is not there for puts. Right now, it's below 1,000, maybe possibly the 296. Could be a contender. Let's see what happens in the next 10 seconds. 5 seconds here. If we get puts for IWM, we got a prep. I would entertain it just because, oh, call TP oh, Visa. Visa. Okay. I wanted to get into some calls on Visa. Let's not get distracted though. I was saying like if I'm in, then I'm in. So Visa is bullish. I would have had to get in on Visa at open when I told you guys. So it did hit 30%. Let's see if it hits. That would have been a nice move. We're just waiting for confirmation. We got buyers stepping back in here. So previously high, sell off, then fighting with the bears. So we're still kind of getting, as long as we're in this. I need some support on IWM, though. I mean, to Robinhood, even though I'm starting to buy stock in Robinhood. They have room for improvement when it comes to their fill orders, although that's probably not best practice for their business model per se. The push was good on IWM. I'm just trying not to jump in based off of my trigger fingers, but I see this put down here though. I see this gap down here. Ooh. You just keep refreshing to see what happens with when you have the crossover. Oh, here we go. We got 294 puts that have open interest. 294. Oh, 294 puts look good. I probably could have gotten into that. 294 puts. We bought right back up off that level. But we do have a lot of open. We have a good healthy amount. Okay. What was the sell off here? We braced a little bit. Off. We're just still in the green, so don't get fried like trying to fight all of this. Let's just wait for the confirmation. And this, like, see how I was so tempted to get in? The setup hasn't happened, right? Yes, you can try to jump in on prep, but the thing is, you want the setup to happen, and when the indicator fires, that's confirmation that you got some downside, right? Or that the setup has happened, and then you have institutions backing that move. You don't want to be like the lone wolf. Let's just wait for the setup. I'm going to give myself another star because it's we waited the 15 minutes. We do have data, or Kevin Warsh starts to testify at 7. Let me see if I can. I'm going to leave you guys on the feed. Let me look and see if I can find. On YouTube. I haven't been able to find it. Oh, here we go. Watch live. PBS News. I'm not watching the story now. I'm watching the feed. Oh, he'll be on live in 5 minutes on PBS. So let's keep that there. PBS comes through. We're 5 minutes out from the top of the hour. If we continue at these levels, especially with IWM, going to break below the VWAP here. Ooh, we do have, I like how the 15 comes up previously high. We have sell off across our three. Okay. I do expect a pullback though at 7. Okay, something. Okay, I'm gonna do a base hit. Let me start circling because I want to see the foolishness of this. I'm gonna put this as a non-E on the green. There was a level here that it's buying off of. I wanted to flush down. Yeah, I think I. Another thing is like I'm willing to acknowledge like just jump out versus like trying to hold on to something that I think it does look good. We also have prep to the downside here, but we're buying up off of that level. Ooh, buyers stepping in. Discomfort. And the messed up thing is, I don't have like see how we're buying up off of this level right here? We're buying up off of the 8. And I bought here. Alright, I think let me just cut my losses. And this is the price you pay. Because who told you to get in there? You didn't hear no E. And then the thing is with the top of the hour. Yep, there it is. Oh, I tell you, this is what I pay for the content. No one told you to go in there, and I put, y'all, human nature, my nature is to keep talking to you. Well, I know why I got in. I tried to jump in early, but I didn't have confirmation, right? So I didn't get confirmation. And this is the problem with me trading like legacy stuff, right? Because it's kind of like a little bit of dirt, but I have a model that will tell me when we can come in and take. And I was kind of just hoping to kind of get in early. It's still kind of like stuck in I feel like SPY's going to give you the call that you want. You have buyers stepping back in now for you to stay high. Mm-hmm. These two were twinning. This one is kind of feeling a little bit more bearish, but it could be the time frame for making that. And now SPY's going to go ahead and, IWM is going to go ahead and see that put in. Okay, 7 o'clock. I'm going to change this to the 1 minute time frame. Let me go to PS and see. Oh, but now we're just waiting for IT to put the live up on PBS. Let's try that. Oh, we're still waiting for him. Oh, dang it, IWM. I was just in there and you psyched me out, yo. Let me see what I had gotten in last time. Let me go to that top page. I'm doing another non-feed. Probably buying at the bottom. I'm gonna mark it. Because I want to hold myself accountable. I'm not going to worry about what that looks like right now. I'm going to see the capsule. Right on top of that, this is going to be and wait for a full capsule. So yeah, we're bouncing off of that 50%. just that whole little gap fill right there. Barely. So number 3 was a non-E. I still didn't make that when I lost. So this is number, oh wait, I've only done 2 trades. Why did I have to write number 3? Because I'm mentally exhausted. I want to wait for push on QQQ or something like this. So we're going to be invalidating here. There's that gap fill on IWM. And then on SPY, let's see if Kevin is going to be talking. We're still waiting for Kevin. At this point, it's like cousin Kevin, his Uncle Jerome. You know, so we didn't quite fill this gap here on IWM. Okay, we just filled that gap on IWM. It's running the 10. On the 3 minute, ooh, we're back into that push down. Let's see here. We're deciding to sell off. That makes me so mad. Like, I should be mad at myself because I gave away profit that I didn't lose the confidence on. Which this one I did make profit on too, but bouncing off of the 300 here, but we did get that profit. QQQ, I entertain profit on the 3 minute. Let's see if I can get in on it. See if I can get in, because it's probably already going to have me first push. Ooh, heck yeah. Ooh, it's moving, it's moving, it's moving fast. Okay. Might have had a little bit of a late entry there, but seven oh six, and this is on the 3 minute. 3 minutes, 3 minutes, 3 minutes, 3 minutes, 3 minutes, 3 minutes. I like it because also we're below the previous day's high. Going to test those top loss levels. Not the time to be greedy. We do have push below, I mean a gap down below, so I like it. Conditions have been met. So we're testing stop losses here. At a minimum, maybe try to touch average here. Don't do that. You're going in the wrong direction. I don't even want to look at my P&L, but it's testing stop losses on QQQ. And it is a higher contract, but I feel like it's a one and done type of a thing. See, so that volatility, you just gotta feel it, be comfortable feeling it. So it's testing people's stop losses there. And you already saw how I jumped out on IWM. So it's just trying to shake people out. Um, there are some buy levels here from this market open where buyers be wanting to step back in. We didn't quite, oh, there we go. So I'm just going to make this I did get in a little bit late on QQQ. But I am going to expect at least first of the 30%. Not just me, but I think a lot of people here on society looking a little bit lower. I love how I popped that out of the corner of my eye. I am being greedy. I probably should have been out at that 30% and hit 30%, but I'm going to see if it can try to just get out. Nice. I love how I executed that. Um, Got into the strength here. 50% is going to have a strong reversal, and also it's starting to bounce. It's going to want to bounce off of this 300. I at least kind of like eyeballs here. We're bouncing off this 300 here on the IWM. So yeah, I'm really happy with how I executed that. I'm really happy with how I executed that trade there. Didn't quite give you 50% before that nasty reversal, but yeah, 30% of the take profit level. It's going to come back up here, retest, possibly hit 30 for the 4. Give you some. Oh, QQQ just gave a confirmation to the downside. Now, this one, do with it what thou wilt. I would say just kind of wait until the gap and see this wick. If you got confirmation for more downside on IWM, QQQ, beautiful. We just invalidated any bullish activity that was there. Again, just same thing that happened with the other one when it hits the 50% level. Expect a little bit of a pullback. Take profit at 30%. Don't be greedy. I'm gonna check what my take home is because I don't really want to jump into anything else right now. Yeah, I'm happy with. Oh, it wasn't even that much. Oh, but wait, I got another QQQ. Something with the wrong. So let me see. In terms of the 1 hour, let me show you what's happening here on the 1 hour. Don't try to force this trade. We're bouncing off of the 8. So we're gonna have to start to get micro breaks below this level, and you know, before you start to entertain push to the downside and then come down here. But you're gonna have to start breaking this level down here, um, which it's attempting to do. What's this doing down here? If you wanna just, I'm gonna put it here so we're all just cautious. And yeah, I'm gonna leave it here. Let's just be cautious. If it invalidates this, then we can entertain some puts. Because whoever's holding on here, we're already testing their stop losses to the downside here, and then we break below not only the 200 moving average, but below the 200 moving average. And so then, yeah, that's gonna be the play there. I want us to be conservative. I want us to get a nice, clean strong confirmation and validating this to the downside before we try to get into puts. Because right now you're just going to get caught up in calls right here. We do kind of want a little bit of a retest of the previous day high and have sellers affirm that they want more downside there. In terms of IWM, we do have another small gap down here. But I don't know how serious it's going to be about putting this I want to make sure if I'm trading. Oh, put that on the 15 minutes. I'm getting back into bullish territory here. I would be cautious here. Let's just kind of wait. Let's just see if Kevin is talking. Mm. All right. Bye. Okay. Got a lot of tomorrow. Ooh. Don't do that. Oh, it doesn't like when I go onto the screen.